Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I would love it if you would consider subscribing. Today, I'm going to be talking about potty training boys versus girls. Let's get into the nitty-gritty differences between boys and girls. And obviously, I'm basing this off of my own experience. Everyone's experience is going to be different, and every single child is going to be different. I know that my kids have completely different temperaments than a lot of other kids. Timmy is very cautious, and he pretty much will do most of what we say. And Kaya is completely independent, feisty, wants to do everything her way on her watch, and she doesn't care what anybody else says. So that being said, I did have a harder time potty training Kaya. With both kids, I've used the pee-pee timer, where we will set the timer and like every 5 to 10 minutes we'll go potty. Kaya wanted nothing to do with it. Like the timer will go off, I'll say, Kaya, let's go potty, and she said no. And then 2 minutes later, she would get on the potty and go by herself because she knew that I wasn't paying attention to whether or not she was going potty. And still to this day, she's been potty trained for about a month now. And still to this day, if I tell her to go to the bathroom, she will not go. If I tell Timmy to go to the bathroom, he might put up a little bit of a fuss, but he usually ends up going. But Kaya she won't. So in that aspect, training Kaya has been harder. So some other potty training categories that I'm gonna get into, they are nitty gritty: wiping, aiming, and pooping. So we'll start with wiping, and I mean, common sense guys, wiping girls is harder. You always have to teach them to wipe from front to back because you don't want to get any bacteria up in their business, in their little privates, and then they would get infections, and then you would be at the doctor, and then they would be on antibiotics, and they'd be miserable. So you need to teach them the right way. So for now, I have been wiping Kaya every single time she goes to the bathroom until I know that she's like old enough to know that she has to wipe from front to back. So in that respect, training her has been a little bit harder than Timmy because boys just shake it off, shake, shake, shake it off. Yeah. I'm just going to make an awkward conversation funny. The aiming situation. So many people say that their little boys pee all over the floor. Teach your boy to pee sitting down, because here's the thing. If you're teaching your boy to pee standing up, then you're double training him, because you're training him to pee standing up, but then he still has to poop to sit down. So just sit your kid on the toilet, tell him to push his penis down, and then all of his pee goes in the toilet and it's no issue. I feel like that was a no-brainer for me. When Timmy's old enough, he will pee standing up all the time. He's just now starting to show interest in peeing standing up, and he actually pees standing up quite well. Because what I do is I have him put up the seat, he holds it while he is peeing, so he is leaning into the toilet, and then guess what? He puts the seat right back down because he's already holding it. So luckily, thus far, I have not had to deal with any boys leaving the toilet seat up, because Tim's actually really good about putting it down too. Thanks, honey. With girls, you really need to make sure that they're sitting back far enough on the potty so that their pee isn't going out of the potty. And you also need to make sure that they're pulling their pants down enough, because I don't know if it's just a Kaya thing, but sometimes I've had times where Kaya doesn't pull her pants down all the way, and she kind of ends up peeing on her pants. So she's not having an accident, so she doesn't really understand, like, why are my pants wet if I just peed on the potty? But it's just because she didn't pull her pants down all the way. And I'm sure the same thing can happen with boys, but I guess if they're like pushing their penis down, then it might be easier for them to know if their clothes are in the way. I'm not really sure. But that's just been one issue that we've had to deal with Kaya, is just to make sure that she's sitting far enough back on the potty. But if you have a potty seat, then it just makes it way easier for them. But my daughter is stubborn, and she doesn't want to use the potty seat because she wants to sit on the big potty all by herself with no help ever. So everybody poops, and I think it's okay to talk about it. We all poop. And when you're potty training your kid, it's probably the hardest part, depending on your kid, obviously. I'm just gonna keep reiterating this entire video that it completely depends on your individual kid, but this is based on my experience. The first day that I was potty training Timmy, I could tell he was holding it in, and I was like, it's okay to go poop. Mommy goes poop, daddy goes poop, everybody poops. And when you're potty trained, you poop in the potty. The first day that I was potty training him, he was really, really scared, and I could see it in his face. He was holding it in, he didn't want to go, and eventually it was almost nap time, and he really had to go. I sat him on the potty, and I said, it's okay, just let your poopy out. I'm right here, I'm not going anywhere, just let your poopy out. And he did, and he has never, ever once had a poopy accident. Never. I'm like, I am flabbergasted. I am impressed. I actually gave him a potty training trophy because he was so easy and did such a great job potty training. Kaya, however, had a little bit more of a hard time because I think she has never pooped on the potty before I started potty training her. I think it made it a little more difficult. For months before she was potty training, I would tell her, Mommy's going poopy. You wanna come flush my poopy? And okay, whatever, it's weird, make fun of me. But I let her flush my poopy so that she can see that this came out of my body and now it's gonna go down the potty and in the drains and we're never gonna see it again. But I think that when it was coming out of her, I think she was terrified. She would cry. She would not want to go. She would hold it. And she had a couple accidents. And I would seriously squat down in front of her when she was on the toilet, and I would tell her, it's okay, I'm not going anywhere. She would ask me to hug her. So I would hug her on the potty and I would say, it's okay, you let your poopies out. And we had to do that for a couple weeks. And then, I want to say 2 weeks. And then all of a sudden she's just like so proud of herself for going poopy on the potty, and that's that. She's a potty pooper. So I guess, I don't know, that's just my story about poop. Some kids are easier than others. All in all, in this video, I'm just going to say that every kid is different and your experience may be totally, completely, 100% different than mine. But in my experience, potty training my boy was way easier than potty training my girl. And I think it's just because she's stubborn, I'm stubborn, and that's not the best mix. But it all works out. Your kid is not going to be 20 years old still going poopy in a diaper. And honestly, just like, don't stress it. And that's about it. I mean, if you guys enjoyed this video, then give it a thumbs up. I know a lot of people have asked me if it was easier to train Kaya than it was Timmy, and I just have to say no, it wasn't. And those are the reasons why. And that's all I've got today. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time. Bye!